Well, welcome everyone. My name is Andrew. I'm the lead pastor here at The Crossing, and I wanted to take a few quick minutes to do an update on our church for you. Now, we do these from time to time, and they are like family meetings. If you've been around here for a while, they're a great way to keep up to date on what's going on. And if you're new to our church, these are great because you get to sit in and see the things that really matter to us. Now, 32 years ago, our church was founded with the hope that The Crossing would be the place people go to explore faith and experience the life-changing ways of Jesus. And so every service we plan, every event, every song we sing is designed around how to help each person, regardless of where they are spiritually, to experience the power and grace that is found in Jesus. So since the beginning, this has been our focus. And as all of you know, 2020 has been a year that none of us expected. In fact, I remember in December of 2019, there was this meme people were sharing on social media. It was all about how great 2020 was going to be, how the 4th of July weekend fell on the weekend, and how Halloween is on a Saturday, and how Christmas is on a weekend, and also New Year's leads into a 3-day weekend. I mean, it was all about 2020 is going to be the best year ever. And we all know it hasn't exactly gone that way, has it? In fact, 2020 has brought on more challenges, more pain, more stories of isolation and loneliness. It has brought more anger and division in our country than any of us could have anticipated. It's why back in March, I shared this verse with our church. It's Isaiah 43, verse 19, where God says to the prophet Isaiah, God says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." You see, God says, I am doing something new. That in the wilderness and the difficulty, I am bringing hope. And that's exactly what God is doing again in our day. God is up to something new. For instance, back in January, 95% of the people who attended our church did so in person. Only 5% were online or listening to our podcast. So back then, online was mostly an afterthought for us. Now fast forward to today, and we have seen that focusing on creating online services and experiences has become the best way to reach people who are exploring faith. I mean, think about it for a second. It's pretty scary to show up to a church for the first time. You don't know where to park. You don't know what to do with your kids. You don't know if the church is full of normal people or weirdos. You have no idea if the pastor is going to go on and on and on and never stop speaking. Now, on top of that, add to it COVID and all the concerns around safety and health. There are a lot of barriers that make it difficult for someone new to show up to church in person. And yet, God is making a way. I was talking to someone brand new to our church recently. You see, during the pandemic, something happened to them where they decided as a family, we need to get connected to a church. And they came across one of our services online, and they loved it. And from there, they've gotten connected, and they've gotten some help, and someone's been praying with them and caring for them. They, watch every single week. All of this has happened, and they have never shown up to our campus once. And I'm hearing stories like this all the time right now. We also have kids' experiences and students' experiences online. On top of that, we launched small groups for the first time this summer online. You see, today we now have people who love our church, who have never been able to participate on our campus small groups because of where they live or their work schedules, but now they're in community and they're growing, and God is doing incredible things in their lives. You see, we're seeing all of these online experiences not as a substitution for being in person, but as an opportunity to continue to reach people who are exploring, who have questions, who are hungry to see if the message of Jesus has something to say to them today. So what does all this mean for the future of our church? Well, if we want to continue to be the place people go to explore faith and experience the life-changing ways of Jesus, two things have become clear. The first is that we will need to resource our online experiences just like we do our on-campus. You know, our first week online in March, I will never forget it. We had a staff member who during my entire message was running back and forth from the two cameras, which we primarily use, and pointing to which one I should be looking at every few seconds. I mean, I won't even go back and watch those services now because we had no idea what we were doing back then. Now today, we are weekly creating unique experiences for each and every one of you to join with us online. We're creating content specifically for people who are new to faith and people who are looking to continue to grow in their faith. We have volunteers who have stepped up to host online and answer questions and create a warm and welcoming environment just like we do in person. Now, I say all of this because I want you to know that we are going to invest online with our time and our resources because this will help us accomplish what God has called us to do. Now, second, we will continue to be on the front lines of meeting needs in our community. In fact, over the last few months, we have had over 400 people who have stepped up and served in our community since March. I mean, isn't that incredible? These are people who have helped provide groceries for people who are struggling financially. They have prayed with people who are hurting and isolating. They have served families, our local schools. They've donated blood and so much more. And over the next few weeks, I want you to know that we're going to continue to expand how we're serving our community. One of the things in the past that has made our church so unique and such a difference maker is our recovery meeting that meets on Friday night called Lifelines. I can't even begin to tell you the number of stories I've heard over the years of people who were starting the road to recovery because they heard a message of hope at Lifelines. And then they got connected into a great community at Lifelines. And that started them on the path to sobriety. Now, unfortunately, with COVID, we've had to stop our in-person and do online only for Lifelines. Now, the good news I have for you today is that we are in conversations right now to start Lifelines back up in person as soon as possible. On top of that, we host something called LOTS, which stands for Life on the Streets, where over the last 7 months, we as a church, we have helped provide meals and showers and laundry services and next steps for our homeless friends to help them find a safe place to live. And over the next few weeks, we are again going to expand and increase the help we are offering a group of people who are often discarded and forgotten about, but who matter to our great God. And none of this would be possible without each and every one of you who have volunteered of your time and given generously of your resources. So to the hundreds of you who have volunteered your time during this pandemic, I want to say thank you. And to the hundreds of you who have given of your resources during such an uncertain time, I want to say thank you. You have made an internal investment in the things that matter to God. Now I want to say a final word to those of you who are newer to our church or who have been sitting on the sidelines these last few months. This is your chance. This is your moment to step in and be part of what God is doing. If you have never been part of one of our serving teams, with just an hour a week, you can do more than you possibly think. An hour a week volunteering in our kids ministry and helping our families who are struggling and juggling so much right now. Or just serving once a month at Lots can do so much good to bring hope in our world. In fact, if you're interested but have no idea where to start, I want to encourage you today, send me an email, andrew@thecrossing.com, and let's me and you start a conversation today. Also, if you've never given of your resources, or maybe during the summer months you've fallen behind on what you normally give, I want you to hear me. Every dollar you give here is making a difference. This is your chance to be part of what God is doing. Probably the easiest way to give is through our app or online at thecrossing.com/give. In fact, my wife and I, we've set up reoccurring giving because this allows us to give regularly every month to what God is doing here. And I want to encourage you to join with me today because God is doing something new. And I want us to be part of this together. All right, that's my update for you. God is up to some great things here at The Crossing, and I'm excited for what these next few months have. Now today we are continuing our series called Our Finest Hour. And we have a great message that will speak directly to you from one of our teaching pastors, Nicole and Romero. Enjoy, everyone.
If we are now called upon to endure what they have been suffering, we shall emulate their courage. And if final victory rewards our toils, they shall share the gain. Aye, and freedom shall be restored to all. The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Let us, therefore, brace ourselves to our duty, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.
Do you ever have trouble staying motivated? Do you ever find yourself getting off track? What do you use to keep yourself heading in the right direction? If that's an easy question for you, you can yell it at the screen or write it in the comments. Often I save quotes that motivate or help me focus. I will save them on Instagram. I will take screenshots. I will bookmark them. I will pin them. I love to save them because I find that a well-timed quote is a catalyst for me. It can focus me and help when I'm trying to get motivated or set goals. So for instance, Winston Churchill said, "The price of greatness is responsibility," which helps me to make the next right choice. And Aristotle said, "You are what you repeatedly do," which helps me check my habits. Paul in the Bible said, "I press on to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of me," which helps me remember the big goal here and that Jesus started it. This could be our finest hour. It's the name of our series, and it's the mantra of the crossing this fall. This could be our finest hour if we set a course and stay the course. But I know this could also be our most exhausting hour. Sometimes if we are overworked or stressed out, a motivational quote is it's kind of insulting. It's like, "Thanks, Aristotle, I get it. I just want to rest." But when we are already exhausted or discouraged, whatever dreams we had for the future feel far away and draining. All this talk of greatness or finest hours, it gets really old. We may relate less to good old Churchill or Aristotle and relate way more to comedian Mitch Hedberg. Do you know him? He said, "I am sick of following my dreams, man. I'm just going to ask where they're going and hook up with them later." Sometimes I'm sick of following my dreams, of trying harder, of reaching for greatness. I just want to take a nap and catch up with my dreams later, you know? So what do? Which do we choose? Do we give up and just see what happens, or do we dig deeper and possibly exhaust ourselves? These are the questions of life, right? We want purpose and value, but we are tired and it seems so difficult. But what if we are making it harder than it actually has to be? Welcome to part 5 of our series, Our Finest Hour. My name is Nicole Romero, and I get to be on the teaching team here at the Crossing. We are studying the life of a man named Daniel. His long life in a strange and exhausting world lays out an amazing pattern for how to live well, no matter your circumstances, without ever burning out or giving up. We are building it week by week with each episode and with the Finest Hour Guide. So check out past episodes on Facebook and YouTube, and it's never too late to start the Finest Hour Guide and to make what we talk about here real in our lives. Today's focus comes down to 2 phrases: set a course, stay the course. Set a course, and then stay the course. If you've ever studied navigation, you've probably heard of the 1 in 60 rule about staying on course. So basically, for every 1 degree a plane veers off its course, it misses its target destination by 1 mile for every 60 miles you fly. So if you are off by even 1 degree, the further you travel, the further you get off course. It's a really good metaphor for life. 1 degree off isn't a big deal for a short distance, but the longer we let it go, the more off course we get. Our marriages, our jobs, our faith, our parenting can get off course over the years. Most, they don't fail overnight. We just get off course 1 degree at a time. So how do we set a course and how do we stay the course? We see in Daniel's life that it's not about willpower or circumstances. It's about fixating in detail on the kind of person you want to be and then acting like it. Daniel, he set a course and he stayed the course. He decided who he was and acted like it for his entire life. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he said it this way: what you do on your ordinary days determines what you can do on your extraordinary days. On the most famous day of Daniel's life, the day he was sent to the lion's den, it says he did what he always did. Daniel practiced the same small things that helped him stay the course, and we can do the same. It's been said that Christian character is not really formed in adversity, it is revealed in adversity. This year may be revealing to you the degree to which you are off course. That's okay. We can get on track together. So we are in the book of Daniel, chapter 6. To get us up to speed, there has been a coup, and a new ruler is over Babylon, where Daniel has been living since he was kidnapped and taken there as a teenager. And now he is 80 years old. The new king is known as Darius, and he gets right to work organizing his new digs. All right, so it's Daniel chapter 6, verse 1. It pleased Darius to appoint 120 satraps to rule throughout the kingdom, with 3 administrators over them, one of whom was Daniel. The satraps were made accountable to them so that the king might not suffer loss. So now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. Okay, since Daniel was first taken to Babylon when he was 16, he set a course to honor God. He made small choices to set him apart from the other people, eating only certain foods and being an honest, trustworthy employee. He was appreciated by every leader he served, and we'll talk about that more next week. See, no matter who the boss is, Daniel can be trusted to do good work. King Darius, his number one goal is to not suffer loss, AKA don't steal from me. So Daniel has proven himself trustworthy and incorruptible. First, Daniel is made one of the 3 supervisors over the kingdom. And then once Darius sees Daniel in action, he puts Daniel in charge of running all of it. And well, Daniel's coworkers are not happy about that. So they like being corrupt, they like skimming a little off the top, and Daniel is ruining their fun. So they try to find something Daniel is doing wrong in his work, but they can't find anything. It says he is trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. That is something I hope is said of me, that I am trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. So his coworkers realize that the only way to get Daniel out of there is to find something to do with his God. They know he is loyal to his God. The definition of loyalty is important to note. Loyalty, to be firm, be established, be faithful, be reliable, be certain, to be ready, be prepared, to be determined. It signifies initial preparation or formation, actual preparation for a future event. Do you hear that? It's set a course, stay the course. That equals loyalty. The course Daniel set was obvious even to his haters. He set a course toward his God. So all the other officials go as a group behind Daniel's back. They play to the new king's vanity with this devious plan. They tell King Darius that they have all agreed that he is awesome and should issue a decree that everyone should pray to him for the next 30 days. And anyone that prays to any god or human other than King Darius over the next 30 days will be thrown in the lion's den. Darius thought this was a great idea and issued the decree. Now, in Babylon, we may have a new king, but the Babylonian mindset is still in full force here. We see it in the scheming officials, and we see it in King Darius. The Babylonian mentality is found in Isaiah 47:8. It says, I am, and there is none beside me. I am, and there is none beside me. In other words, it is all about me. I must consider me, my needs, my goals, my rights, how I look, how I feel. The Babylonians valued beauty, youth, success, intelligence. Start looking and you will see this Babylonian mindset all around us and in us. And it's sneaky. I mean, who do you watch in Zoom? Maybe not all the time, but our eyes are drawn back to our own faces on Zoom over and over again, right? Or Do we spend more time researching moisturizers or running shoes than we do reading the Bible or serving others? We all fall into the trap, I am, and there is none beside me. Do you know how God first described himself? As the great I am. When we declare with our thoughts or actions, I am, and there is none beside me, we directly defy the great I am. If you're not resisting it every day, you are getting sucked in. It pulls us off by just a degree. But there are simple ways to stay on course, to remind ourselves that God is God and we are not. We create daily rhythms and choices to remind ourselves that we are not the center of the universe. In Babylon, having what you want when you want is part of your right. Daniel purposefully removes some of his own choices to set a different course. He limits his food choices, in part because it is an everyday reminder to stay the course. Every time he sits to eat, stay the course. We can do the same. We need to set up daily habits that keep us on track on the ordinary days and the extraordinary ones. Now, the story goes on. Now, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem, his hometown. 3 times a day, he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. This is where we hit the most important part of the story. It's not the lions that are still to come. It's those small words, just as he had done before. This is what struck me reading through Daniel this time. Daniel prayed to the great I am 3 times a day, every day, no matter what. He stopped what he was doing, no matter how important it seemed, and did something that reminded him what was most important. And for him, that was God. For you, it may be God too. You may already know that you want God to be the most important thing in your life. And if that's true, what are you doing to set a course toward God? But even if it's not God yet, what is important to you? Have you made choices that set your course toward your goals? Just like Justin asked us last time, do your actions line up with your beliefs? We can say we want to go to New York, but if we start walking north from here, we will never get there. Daniel set a course toward his God and stayed that course. He practiced it on the good days and now on one of his worst. Daniel is still practicing. We cannot plan or train for every possible horrible scenario. This year has taught us that. But we can train to stay connected to the one who will get us through anything. I pray we create holy habits that are so ingrained that we do them without having to decide to. We all have those things we do without even thinking about it, right? Usually they're things like cleaning when we're mad or criticizing our family when we're frustrated or drinking too much of some liquid when we're feeling stressed. I can measure my stress by how much Diet Coke I drink. It's gross, I know. I pray that we form holy habits that flow through our lives, that we reach for prayer before anything else. Daniel prayed with his windows open. He wasn't hiding. And the other officials saw him, and they reported him to the king. But the thing is, the king was not angry with Daniel in this moment. He valued Daniel. It actually seems like King Darius didn't actually realize the consequences of this decree when he made it. It sounded good to have everybody pray to him for a month. And now he has to throw his most trusted employee in a lion's den. It says that the king was greatly distressed and made every effort until sundown to save him. But once a king makes a decree, it cannot be changed even by the king. So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." We do not see what the night was like for Daniel. Lions are terrifying. We can watch the videos of people being hugged by lions and think it's cool, but I remember being at the zoo and watching a lion watch my toddler through the thick glass, and it was just pacing back and forth, watching her like she was a snack, for real. And I just watched the video of the hiker being hunted by the mountain lion for 6 minutes. It's terrifying. Lions are not cuddly. But we do not follow Daniel. We stay with the king. It's like in a TV show where they don't have the budget for the monsters, so you just see the hero go into the room with the monsters, and then you stay on the face of the friends in the hallway. So why do you think we stay with the king? We don't know how Daniel's night was, but the king was upset. He got tricked by his own excitement, pride, his lying officials. He was forced to throw his most prized employee in a den with hungry lions. He's so upset, it says he can't even eat dinner or look at his phone or sleep. He waits for sunrise to see what happened. Maybe we stay with the king because we are watching someone realize they need to set a different course. That's where a lot of us are today. We realize we're not just off course by a degree, we are way off. But if we are still not sure we have the energy or desire to set a new one, right? So we are waiting to see what happens to the people who claim to have a good course. Daniel claimed to have a good course, the best one, the one loyal to the living God. And here's what happened. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to rescue you from the lions?" I love hearing the way the king said this. You can hear his hopeful, unsure faith coming through. Have you ever been really overly complimentary when you're about to ask for something? Like, "Oh, my dear wife, my most beautiful woman, light of my life, the one I promised myself to." We get over the top, right? You can hear it here in King Darius as he's talking. He's hoping God is listening. He says, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Darius, he doesn't know that he can trust God, but Daniel does. Darius is calling out, hoping for the best. And then Daniel answers, "May the king live forever. My God sent his angel and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty." The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. Hear me, this is not a story about how if you pray correctly, God will make your life easy. This is a story about setting a course and staying the course no matter what. So how do we do that? We follow the example set by Daniel. To set the course, decide who you are and who you want to be. To stay the course, create daily habits that keep you on track so you don't go even that 1 degree off. And you do not do it alone. Invite God into this with you. A verse we can hold to, and one that Daniel would have known and memorized, says this: "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Setting and staying the course, it takes intentional thought. God is with you, and the crossing is here for you. Go back to the beginning of this series and listen with new ears. Spend some time in prayer with our Finest Hour guide. Or check out a resource we made for you called Growth Track. Find some good quotes and stick them on your bathroom mirror. Then, write out in detail the truth of who you are and who you can be. It's okay for it to be aspirational. This is where you are headed, not just the reality of where you are today. Where are you heading? Call out your shot. The more detailed, the better. I have actually started doing what author and pastor Craig Rochelle does. He has morning declarations to remind himself who he is and where he's headed every day. Here are some of his morning declarations. Jesus is first in my life. I exist to serve and glorify him. I love my family and will lay down my life to serve them. Because of Christ, my family is closer, my body is stronger, my faith is deeper, my leadership is sharper. I am creative, innovative, driven, focused. I am blessed beyond measure because the Holy Spirit dwells within me. I am gifted to create, lead, and change circumstances from what they are to what they could be. The world will be different and better because I served Jesus today. Set the course. Where do you want to be headed? We don't know exactly what Daniel prayed, but his prayers helped him keep on course. Daily prayer, daily habits are what will keep us from getting even that 1 degree off track. And not just in our faith, but in every area. Determine who you are and where you want to be, and then set up daily habits to keep you on track. And we don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep at it. You could start developing morning declarations for yourself. You could start the Finest Hour Guide. You could set an alarm on your phone to stop what you are doing and pray for 3 minutes, 3 times a day. You could put time in your calendar to watch the Crossing service each week. Set a course. Stay the course. We will end with this quote from James Clear, that author of Atomic Habits. He says, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity." What are your actions voting for you to be? Do you need to set the course? Decide where you are heading. Do you need to stay the course? Practice habits that keep you on track. Would you pray with me? God, we need your help to set a course and stay the course. God, I pray right now for everyone who is watching this, who has never invited you into their lives, who've never been able to experience how you really do change everything, that we can face down every circumstance, every temptation, with the partnership of your Spirit and our small, simple disciplines. Anyone who is watching who has never said yes to Jesus, even if it's been a little while, will you join me in just saying, Jesus, I invite you into my life. Help me to experience you. Change my life for the better. Help me to set a course and then to stay that course. To have the life I know I can have. And God, help me to have an even bigger imagination than I can have to see the life you want for me. For any of you who have seen that you have gotten off course, just that 1 degree, 2 degrees, but it's been a couple of years. I pray that you will take the time today to pray about what the habits are that you can start. Easy, simple, small, doable ones, so that you can see the progress and get yourself back on track and on course. God, I'll finish with that verse again. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Amen. Thank you for praying with me. Now, don't leave yet, because this is where you get to start that personal work. We're going to listen to the band sing a song over us. You can sing along if you want to. The lyrics are on the screen. But use this time to start looking at what is the course you want to be on, and how are you going to stay this course every day in the ordinary and extraordinary days.
I count on one thing, the same God who never fails will not fail me now. He won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh, yes, I will.
God, this is our prayer. This is our anthem. Yes, I will. God, in the difficulties, in the painful moments of life, in the storms, God, yes, I will praise your name and look to you because you are a good and faithful God. And we pray this in your son's name. Amen. Now, if you want help staying the course, an easy next step for you is to reach out to us at info@thecrossing.com, and we would love to walk with you in this season of your life. Now, before you go, I have a couple of quick announcements that you're going to want to hear. The first is that we are just 2 weeks away from Halloween. And if you're like me and have kids, one of the biggest disappointments this year is around Halloween. Parties and trick-or-treat have all been canceled, which is a huge disappointment to little kids like I have in my home, or big kids who, like me, love Halloween. Well, have no fear if this is you, because we are creating a safe, socially distant experience for the whole family right here on our campus. We're going to have candy, games, and a ton of fun, all the while keeping everyone safe because of the time we're in. But we need your help with 3 things, just 3 things. The first is to get the word out. Halloween is not going to be canceled. It's just going to look different this year. And we're going to create the best experience possible. So we need you to start telling your friends and neighbors and start making some invites. In fact, this weekend, my family and I, we're going to start making some invites to people at my kids' school because we don't want any kid to miss out on one of their favorite holidays of the year. Second is we need you to register online that you're coming. We absolutely need your help this year, and registration will allow us to know how many people are showing up and when. This helps us know how much candy and allows us to help keep every single person safe on our campus. Now you can register by going to thecrossing.com/HalloWeekend, and we're going to do this HalloWeekend event on Friday, October 30th, and then also on the 31st. So we've made it even easier for you to invite people in your life who you know will want to have a great experience. Third thing I need you to do is to donate a bag of candy. Now, I'm not talking about any candy. We're looking for good candy. You see, sometimes people, they go to the store and they buy things like the orange and black candies, or you know what I'm talking about? Or like they get candy corn. No, we're looking for the good stuff, like the stuff right here on this bag, like Reese's, Twix, Butterfingers, stuff like that. And now, I'm looking for you to donate the good stuff because once my kids go to sleep, I want the good candy that I can steal for them and enjoy for myself. And so if you could bring that by this weekend on campus or next weekend, that would be a huge help for us. Now, one last thing I mentioned is that at the start of the service, we can't do all the things we do without your help, without your generosity. We couldn't do events like HalloWeekend. We couldn't serve the people in our community without you. And so I want to encourage you this week, if you feel prompted to jump in and be part of us through giving through our general fund. You can do that by going to our app or going to thecrossing.com/give. And you know every dollar you give makes a huge difference today. So thank you in advance for being part of that. Now, thanks for joining with us today, and be sure to be on campus live or online with us next weekend as we wrap up our series, Our Finest Hour. Thanks, everyone.